Yeah. 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 Staying with some. Sounds on the way back, so. Them too. Finally, November 2nd, I think, or whatever we opened there. I know.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. This is the Kane County Transportation Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 16th, 2021. Please call the roll.
Iqbal. Berman.
Berman here.
Kenyon.
Yes, here.
Caius.
Caius present.
Opie.
Opie's present.
Thank you. Wojnicki.
Present.
Martin.
Present.
Hurok. Shepro.
Here.
Braz.
Raz here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Public comment. Is there anybody online or in person who would like to address the committee?
Do we,
Mr. Caius?
the agenda says approval of minutes first.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes for October 19th, 2021.
Caius move.
Caius moves.
Wojnicki seconds.
Nikki seconds. Questions, comments, changes? Hearing none, roll call.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Iqbal.
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Opie.
Opie, yes.
Wojnicki.
Yes.
Martin.
Martin, yes.
Shepro.
Don't vote.
Braz.
Raz, yes. Public comment. I didn't hear anybody online or in person, so we'll move on to item 4, finance. Tom?
You have the finance reports in front of you, both from the finance department as well as from our finance staff at the Division of Transportation. I do not have anything to add to it at this point in time. I know that some of the budget elements are still in discussion, and as well as we are in the process too of starting to develop our draft 5-year financial plan. That's all I have to report at this time.
Okay, if you have any questions on the finance report, specific questions, you can talk to Tom after the meeting. Item A is the resolution authorizing the 6-cent county motor fuel tax.
Berman makes a motion to table.
Berman motions to table.
Martin seconds.
Martin seconds. There's no discussion with a table, so roll call, please.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Opie.
Opie, yes.
Wojnicki.
Yes.
Move on to item 5, the maintenance report.
The maintenance report in front of you, our winter operations are beginning. We're doing snow fence installation, various ditching projects, and general highway maintenance. We usually try to put in about 8 miles of snow fence, if we're able to get it all installed, as well as there's a little information about our plow routes, and we're starting part-time help on December 1st. And we have about 8,000 tons of salt currently on hand, so we're really in a good state right now. And that's all I have to report.
8 miles of snow fence is pretty impressive. Okay, any questions for Tom on the maintenance report? Nikki?
I do have a question. Will we be putting down any, like a pre-salt, like the beet juice or whatever it is they do to help dissolve the ice?
Yeah, we do have different types of pretreatment approaches at certain locations.
At certain, like the busiest locations, or?
Yeah, I'd have to talk to Bill. He's not here right
Okay.
now, but we do put pretreatment down.
Okay.
Other questions or comments on the maintenance report? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to items 5B, C, D, and E. If it's okay with the committee, I was going to take these all together. Item B and C are the purchase of 2 trucks. One's a tandem axle and one's a single axle. These trucks are in the 13 to 15-year range, so they're scheduled for a routine replacement to keep the fleet up to par and modern. And then items D and E are the equipment packages that would be put on those chassis. So I'll take a motion and a second to approve items 5B, C, D, and E.
Caius move.
Moved by Mr. Caius, second by Mr. Martin. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Gopi,
Kopey, yes.
Wojnicki.
Yes.
It passes.
Okay.
Martin,
Item
yes.
6, planning and programming report. Tom?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this over to Jackie just to give a brief update on our CRIP activities as well as the council mayor's newsletter.
Good morning, everyone. In your packet, I have a summary of our comprehensive road improvement plan update that we're going through. We've been pretty busy these last couple of months preparing the draft fee schedule, ordinance, and list of projects as part of this update. Our Impact Fee Advisory Committee met on October 19th and the 4th to review these documents. Tonight is our public hearing for everyone to come and give us comments on there. We have a court reporter. We will be downstairs in the auditorium from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. It's an open house format. You can stop by any time to provide comments. We are allowing people to email comments through November 22nd, which is Monday. So they have a few more days if they can't make it tonight to participate and provide comments. According to the statute, the advisory committee must meet within 30 days of our public hearing. So we have our next meeting December 7th. I'm happy to announce it will be in this room. Drew, we were able to secure that. So it will be here. We'll review these documents. Any public comment that we've received at that time will review and be incorporated into the documents. And then you can expect to see them at your January meeting with targeting a February county board approval of all the changes. Your Kane Kendall Council newsletter was also at your place. I wanted to let you know that in January, the council will be holding a call for projects for the STP local funding. We have this call every other year. Some exciting news, we did receive some extra funding as part of the CRISA Act, and we were able to distribute that to several projects for fiscal year 2022. In the memo, it says that we will be looking for funding to fill out years 2026 and 2027 in our program. However, with some additional funds that are identified in the new infrastructure bill that's waiting to be signed, we may be able to fund some other projects through the earlier years. So we'll keep you posted once we have a little more information of how much more money we have in our other years. So that's exciting that we have even more money to distribute to our communities. And that's my report for today.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, the impact fee update's a tremendous amount of work, and we have a group, the committee is made up of some board members as well as volunteers, board members from the, or committee members from the development area and labor and so forth. So appreciate everybody's hard work on that. And it's kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel on that coming up. Any questions for Jackie on either of those issues?
I do have a question. This is Kopey.
Mr. Copey, go ahead.
Yes, could you give me an example of some of the topics that may be current, Jackie?
Some of the topics from the newsletter, or I'm sorry, don't.
Can you be more specific, Tom?
The topics that you'll be discussing at the meeting this evening.
At tonight's public hearing, we have, so we have the changes to the ordinance that we're proposing. We discussed them at our last Impact Fee Advisory Committee, where we are looking to include the simplified individual assessment, which is where a developer may choose a different land use code to use as their, as part of, instead of using what was on the fee schedule, we can look at any of the 179 land use codes that are available and potentially lower those fees. That was one of the items that have changed. We also changed the discount section in the ordinance, made a few changes here and there. And we also added a skilled manufacturing jobs creation discount to that. So those are two of the major changes. Some of the other items were just some procedural things and wording and how we presented the information in the ordinance. The fee schedule is updated from our current fee schedule based on the modeling that we did with our land use assumptions and the consultant put together for us. So that's up for discussion tonight. That was at our last Impact Fee Advisory Committee meeting. And then also the draft list of projects that we have identified as having deficiencies in the year 2030. So what projects can we fund in the next 10 years and how, where they're located. We have the current projects that are in our current CRIP and then ones that we're going to add. So those are the 3 different items that we're looking at tonight and the kind of the differences from what's current and hoping to get some feedback on that. Does that help?
Sounds interesting. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, I was curious, is it possible that we can zoom into that meeting, or do I need to be present if I wanted to?
Unfortunately, we did not set it up that way. I'd be happy to send you the materials directly so you can take a look at them. Feel free to reach out to me directly. We can talk about it if you can't make it tonight. We will have
That'd be
staff
great if
there.
you could. It'd be great if you could send it to my email. That'd be wonderful. Thank you. I'll try
Absolutely.
to get there this evening.
Yeah, I'll do that after this meeting.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Tom,
Mr.
we did
Chairman.
have, we did talk about flex space and job creators, giving people credit for buildings and so forth that were creating jobs. And those are all based on public comment heard during our meeting. So I was pretty happy that staff was able to include all of that as the project moved forward. Any other questions or comments for Jackie? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to Resolution 6B, approving an IGA between Kane County and PACE for the Ride and Cane program. I think Jennifer is going to handle that. Or
Yes, good morning. We are feverishly working on setting up the Ride and Cane program. We are going to become the program administrator and grantee. The agreement in front of you is a component of our larger work plan. And so we thought it would be a good idea to give you a brief update on what we've been working on so that you could have an idea for your constituents and just let the residents know, what we're working on. So Tom, you can go back to that slide. So if you recall, in the spring, the county board authorized staff to submit an application for FTA funds to be awarded and have Kane County become the grantee of Ride and Cane. So in August, the RTA formally approved $2.66 million in FTA funds for Kane County to use in Ride and Cane. While we are working on our work plan, we're in constant contact with the RTA, and they kind of gave us a great gift a few months ago and let us know that there were 2 additional fund sources that were either untapped or unexpended at the AID, and they were wanting to transfer them to us. So we will become the recipients of $2.45 million in Section 5310 FTA funds, which serve to provide rides for those 65 and over and individuals with disabilities. And then another $800,000 in job access funds, and those will be for qualifying low-income residents. So in total, we will start as program administrator with almost $6 million in federal funds to use to provide rides for our residents. It's important to note that the Ride and Cane sponsors the consortium of 15 or so agencies that have worked since mid-2000, like 2003, 4, to operate this program, continue to pledge their required local match. So we are fully funded, and it's pretty exciting to have that much to be able to access for rides. Another important note is that the program is not going to change. For riders and people from the outside, Kane County is going to be taking over as grantee. That won't mean much to them as they take the rides. We're not going to change how effective the program is and how many people are qualifying for the rides. It's going to be seamless transition. At least that's how we're playing it out. What will be changing is that Kane County will become a sponsor, a direct sponsor of rides for the first time. And I'll touch on that a couple slides from now. So as program administrator, these are some of the things that we've done. We've hired Crystal Spracklin to be our first program coordinator. You met her last month. She comes from AID, so she brings a wealth of experience in how to operate the program. And Up until Crystal came on board, Jackie Forbes and I were working as the team to try and pull this together with Tom's guidance. And now that Crystal's on board, we're kind of full steam ahead on all the little components that will make the program run better. So we're doing internal controls. We're working closely with Kathy Hopkinson, our Chief of Finance, on making sure that we're setting up the program right. This is a whole new source of funds for us. It's a human service program. And so we're kind of feeling our way on how to get that done. We're setting up a customer service process, help desk phone line, a new, more ADA compliant website, and we're going to have a service center at KDOT. So that will be an interesting new component. So a reminder that this transition involves us working constantly with RTA, PACE, our AID, and our sponsors. So the agreement that you're going to be voting on is one of several different contracts and agreements we'll be bringing you to allow us to become the grantee of the funds and operate the program. So that's kind of how we set the table for this. Last slide, Tom. So as sponsor, we're going to be providing directly sponsoring rides for a certain section of residents for the first time. Up until now, Kane County has provided appropriated money annually to go towards riding cane, and that works in subsidizing every ride that's taken. We didn't directly sponsor riders. This, for the first time, we will be directly sponsoring work trips only for qualifying low-income residents throughout the county. So that's a gap in service that we identified. So we're not doing anything to kind of work within any sponsors identified service provision. We're identifying a whole new gap in service. The riding cane program coordinator will register the riders, verify their income, and then pre-approve the trips so that we are containing costs and making sure we're not overstepping our amount of money we've pledged. So the takeaway is that we're going to be allowing a whole new, providing a whole new level of transportation options to potentially, when we looked at some census figures, there are almost 80,000 residents living within 150% of the poverty level in King County. So we could potentially tap many different people and allow them to get access to work. So that concludes my presentation. I don't know if you wanted to talk about the agreement at all, Tom, or?
No, the agreement, the only thing I'll say is that it is a requirement for us to move forward, and it basically, again, makes us the primary rather than AID. So we're moving forward with that. It also appropriates $300,000, which that appropriation is primarily for our share of the sponsorship. And so I think we've discussed a little bit in regards to our moving forward with continuing to expand the program. In order to do that, there's a lot of time and effort that has to go into that, as well as the availability of the funds. That is an additional, the 300,000 is about 185,000 more than what we've done historically. We also have some efforts underway in regards to trying to get job access funds flowing and trying to figure out some matching dollars. So again, as Jennifer has said, Jackie and Jennifer have been working on trying to make a smooth transition, and we believe it's all going in that direction. And over the next couple months, you're going to see some additional agreements from the RTA. I think probably next month that we're going to have to pass. And so that's just kind of a brief update where this is our first step in all of this. And
I think it's a great thing. You know, this is handled by Association for Individual Development for many years. We appreciate them doing that, but I like bringing it back to transportation directly. And of course, we're very fortunate in getting this funding. So it's
Question, Mr.
nice,
Chairman.
nice to start out fully funded, and you know, appreciate everybody's work on it. Mr. Shepro?
Tom, how, if at all, does what this is going to do affect what some of the townships have been doing?
At least at this point, it doesn't affect it at all. In fact, one of the things that we're going to try to do is ensure that we build a solid foundation with the sponsors coming alongside of us. We do not want to create a scenario where they feel like we're going to take over everything. we can't as a county. We don't have the fiscal ability to do that. And so we really want to develop a program where we're all partners in this. So what we want to do is continue to bring the townships into the program, the ones that don't belong. And we have to figure out, it may take a year or two to start moving out west of Randall Road with some of the program aspects. We do have funding currently to deal with the job access. And so we're working on that, as well as trying to find some matching funds to utilize those federal funds countywide. And so there might be some assistance that we give to some of the current sponsors in regards to job access, but that's going to be done very carefully because we want to be partners.
Thank you. That's good to hear, because it's a great program, as Mr. Fraz said, but it hasn't been available for everybody, obviously.
Mr. Martin?
I assume that we'll get some periodic reports too, so I can see how it progresses and. how it
Yeah, we
goes.
will make sure that that occurs. We'll try to do one or two
course.
reports during the year. And
Okay, great.
Ms. Wodnicki?
Thank you. This is a wonderful program. I became very familiar with it at Campton Township, and it really gave seniors that no longer can drive an opportunity to get to their medical appointments and dental appointments. So thank you. This is a great program.
Mr. Caius first, then Madam Chair.
Okay, but the part that Kane's going to be taking over will be mostly employment.
well, we're taking over everything. I'm sorry.
Or-
Yeah, we're taking over the entire program
Mhm.
as far as the administration of it being the primary contractual agency with PACE and with the RTA. But we are also going to be working with our current partners. And as Jennifer mentioned, we have about 15 other partners, townships, municipalities, and we're going to be working with them to figure out ways to enhance the program. But at the same time, continue to keep that solid financial base. I don't know if anybody wanted to add anything more to what I just said.
Well, I think that, we worked really hard to identify a gap or an unsupported population that wasn't covered by Ride and Cane currently, and that's why we kind of developed this work trips only. And so we're, like Tom said, we're not going to try and take any rides or any riders from our existing sponsors, but find a way to augment the program. And that's why we're kind of tiptoeing into sponsorship. We're doing a very slow rollout. We're trying to be very conservative. We don't get, out over our skis on this when we feel, when we take over.
And the biggest expansion will be into the employment working.
Initially, and that's only because there's currently some funds available for the next couple years. After those funds go away, we might have to step back. This is a good time with the ARP aspects moving forward with those funds being available currently. But it may be in the future that we have to step back because, as you can tell, I mean, an annual program is millions of dollars. We currently and historically, we have been putting in about 125,000 a year. We bumped that up to 300,000. Our partners in this are going to continue to have a majority of the funding aspect. And so we really want to do things incrementally so that we can be fiscally responsible and really see what the needs are and how to best utilize the funds we have available currently. We're going to continue to look at, I mean, when we were able to get the RTA sales tax, when we were lobbying down in Springfield, one of the primary things that we were putting forward with the RTA sales tax was the ability to continue to enhance the Ride and Cane program. So we do, it is one of the commitments that we made historically that we would continue to look at how to enhance it. And that's part of the use of the RTA sales tax. So we just want to do it carefully.
Sure. This is very exciting.
Madam Chair.
Is that better there? Thank you. I'm just operationally, how this is going to work. Is it going to be for the workforce? Is it going to be door to door? Is it going to be meeting at a central location and then dropping off at the at the larger industry? Is it going to be allowing somebody who may live in Aurora to go up to Dundee to work there? I mean,
I think there's
that gonna
different
work
ways
out
of
yet?
approaching it. We've actually had some requests in discussions with the sheriff's office as well as with the state's attorney's office. We've had some unique requests that we're going to explore, if anybody wants to add to that.
Yeah, the way the program runs right now, it is what we call curb to curb. So they come to your home, your dwelling, wherever that is, and takes you to your job site. They don't say door to door because they will not assist people to get to the door. So that will remain the same, and they can go anywhere in Kane County right now. There are some sponsors that allow people to go outside of the county. Those rides get very expensive very quickly. So we will probably limit them to within Kane County as a sponsor right now and focus on those jobs. We had learned that there are places that do kind of like a group pickup, but we aren't planning to do that right now. Just continue the service as it is, funding that we have to focus on those areas where there is no service and potentially expand it later, but it'll be how we are doing it currently. And as Tom said, we did reach out to the sheriff's office to discuss their specific needs, and we might have some special cases with them, but otherwise doing it as we're doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments?
No.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second, so we will do roll call.
I don't think anybody moved, did they?
Yeah.
We didn't.
I'd
have a
like to
motion?
move it.
Yes, move and one Nikki
Like
second.
seconds. Thank you.
Berman,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Kopi,
Kopi, yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Ross.
Raz, yes, motion
Passes.
passes. Item 7, the permitting report.
It's not much that I'm going to report on. I do want to make sure that I encourage you to take a look at it. There's often development activities that are occurring on the county highway system, and we always want to make sure that you're aware of those activities. There's a list of some of the development activities. Also, if you ever have any questions on various development activities around the county, please always feel free to give me a call and we can discuss some of those happenings and try to make sure that you're fully up to speed on the different things that are occurring. So that's all I have at this time.
Okay, if you have a question on any of those 11 items, specific questions, you can talk to Tom after the meeting. We'll move on to item B, an ordinance amending the wireless communication facility agreement regarding wireless telecommunication and county rights of way. Tom?
Yeah, this is amending that current agreement. We, right now, under the law, some of our wireless communication are able to utilize county poles. And so in order to do that, though, the county board adopted an agreement that we utilize, and whether it's Verizon, AT&T, or one of the utilities that utilize that, our structures, they have to enter into an agreement. There have been some concerns with a couple areas within that agreement that Pat Jager, our state's attorney representative, he has worked with the mobile phone companies and we're able to come to an understanding on some changes to the language that they wanted. The primary change was some concerns that we had concerns that if they put certain structures on our poles, that we wanted to make sure that our poles were structurally able to handle that. So we put some language in there that they would have to pay for studies. And there's nothing in the state statute that permits us to just arbitrarily just say you're going to have to pay for additional studies and that kind of stuff. We've removed that from the agreement. At the same time, at the staff level, before we enter into an agreement, we will make sure that the structure that they want to put the pole on adequately handles the facility they want. So some minor tweaks and changes that Pat has worked out, and staff is recommending approval.
Okay, so this stems, if you remember, going back a couple of years now, I think, with the 5G communications becoming more popular and things like self-driving cars coming up, there was a state law that was passed about that telecommunication companies could use existing infrastructure to put their facilities on, and it kind of looked like it was going to become a free-for-all as far as people just bolting whatever they wanted to whatever they wanted to. So this ordinance was written by us to help control that. It's kind of a new thing, so we've been refining it every year since then. So that's what this is about. Questions or comments?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Berman moves. Winicky seconds. Roll call.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Kobe. Wojnicki,
Copy,
Yes.
yes. Copy, yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Cross.
Raj, yes.
Passes.
Ordinance passes. Item 8, traffic operations report.
You have the report in front of you. If you have any questions, I'm not going to highlight anything.
Okay, if there's no questions for Tom, we'll move on to project implementation. Steve, are you online?
I am. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep, we can hear you clearly.
Wonderful. Thank you, Chairman. The IMP report is in front of you. Staff is working with our consultants and our contractors really to wrap up our projects for this construction season, get things buttoned up before the snow flies. One thing I do want to mention in regards to our design projects, tomorrow night, staff is hosting a virtual public meeting for our Randall Road at US 20 Planning and Environmental Linkage Project. That's the PEL, sort of the new term for a feasibility study of what that interchange might look like in the future. That public meeting is tomorrow night from 6 to 7:30. It is a virtual public meeting. The credentials to the virtual public meeting can be found on our website, and the link is included there at the top of the IMP report. That's all I have for you before we move on to photos.
Okay, no questions, go ahead.
All right, the first job is our right turn lane that we added to Silver Glen Road, westbound to northbound right turn lane. That's now open to the public. We've got our bridge rehab project showing a pier here where we're doing some cleanup and repair on the bridge piers. That project's still continuing, but wrapping up. We've reconstructed the intersection of Kirk Road at Dunham Road. That's showing the mast arms going up and such, and that's open to the public now too. And we've got our latest Highway Safety Improvement Program, or HSIP, doing work at Fabian and 31 and along Orchard Road also. And we added new traffic signals to the Nelson Lake at Main Street Road intersection too. That's all the photos.
Okay, yeah, I got to compliment everybody on Nelson Lake in Maine. That light seemed to go up in record time.
Wonderful.
Questions on any of the projects? Mr. Shepro?
Comment really, as someone who utilizes the Dunham Kirk improvement many times a day, it's just been such a wonderful upgrade and executed smoothly and already working well to my anecdotal observation. Thank you for bringing that to that much needed intersection.
We're trying to get you and Mr. Kenyon to meetings easier. Mr. Martin?
Thank you.
It's usually the problem.
Mr. Martin?
I just have a question, which I suppose I could have called somebody and ask outside of the meeting, but I've noticed at the intersection of Wenmouth and Fabian Parkway, that backs up quite consistently. Do we have something in the, some planning in the process of looking at that intersection, or what?
We currently do not, that I'm aware of. It is something that we have some in a recent zoning, we've had some money set aside. Maybe what we can do is evaluate that for the next 5-year financial plan.
Yeah, I've just noticed quite consistently that busy times in the day, because it's almost blind coming from the west because they're coming up the hill there. That the traffic backs up on Wenmouth in particular. And then I don't think there's a turn lane for Wenmouth, and it's really become a more popular road over the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, we'll look at taking a look at the signal warrants and just seeing if that's something. I know historically one of the reasons that we haven't touched is because it did not meet warrants, but
Okay,
we'll look at that in the 5-year financial plan, Jackie, if we can note that.
thanks.
Mr. Shepro?
This is probably way out of date, but there used to be a very popular preschool there because my kids went there, and at certain times of the day when people are coming to pick up the kids there, because of I think it was only like 1 or 2 houses in, and there would be usually a backup there. I don't know if that's the cause of it, but
No, I think it's pretty consistently, it's like the main drag into the main entrance of all of the subdivisions to the west. And then there's a lot of stuff to the south now. And it's in Wenmouth is your main way of avoiding Randall for if you're heading north or south in that area. So anyway, just
For the tea time, right? You got to make the tea time on.
no.
isn't Wenmouth also like is that a township road?
So Geneva Township
Yeah.
got a new bridge, fairly new bridge on it. But yeah, we have, the recent light just turned on at Nelson Lake in Maine, and then the full intersection improvement at Deer Path in Maine should help somewhat.
Well, in both ends of Wenmouth.
Yeah.
Main Street,
Yeah.
it's the same type of a thing. It's semi-blind, and it's become a busy street.
Yeah, we did shave off some of the earth embankment to help with the sight distance there, but it is something that we should be looking at again, so.
Thanks.
They used to go all the way through to Kingville Road and was taken out years ago. And I
Oh,
think
really?
we regret that. But any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, we'll move on to 9B, which is a resolution approving amendment number 6, Phase 2 Engineering Services Agreement, Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly. This is for Long Meadow Parkway Bridge from 31 east to 25. So Steve?
Yes, as I described last month, the county will now be conducting additional soil sampling of the lead waste, and that was actually scheduled to start yesterday. And I mentioned we would also need to prepare new contract plans to remove the lead waste. And then we're planning to prepare another set of plans to finish then the pavement, that last section of roadway pavement. So the combination of the preparation of both of these sets of plans, we worked with CMT and negotiated a scope for plan prep for both of these for $207,000 and change, and staff recommends approval of this amendment.
Okay, I need a motion and a second. Moved by Mr. Kenyon, second by Mr. Martin. Discussion? Mr. Caius?
It'll be fast. Well, I'm all in favor of taking that lead out of there, but I'm going to vote no on the extension, repair of the road for the toll.
We wouldn't want you to wake up suddenly and realize.
Short. I've kept it short, Michael. Don't stretch it out.
No problem. Other questions or comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes, no.
Kopi,
Copy, yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Bras,
Raj, yes.
passes.
Resolution passes. We move on to item 9C, resolution approving a second amended restated operations agreement with Ezpass Interagency Group. Need a motion and a second.
I would move.
Mr. Kenyon and
I'll
Ms.
second.
Wodnicki, seconds. Steve?
Last year, County of Kane became a full member of Ezpass, and the Ezpass Interagency Group, or IAG, has developed this amended agreement. to primarily kind of clean things up a little bit, create a class of affiliated members that can use Ezpass equipment, which is that transponder that you see that the Illinois tollway transponder is an Ezpass equipment, right? And the equipment that detects transponders within your car. So this amended agreement would allow members become part of the Ezpass group, not full members, but affiliated members, to use Ezpass equipment to do things other than toll collection services. One example I put in the executive summary was, operating a parking garage. So you drive in, there's detectors that detect your Ezpass transponder, and then fees can be collected then electronically instead of you pulling out your wallet, putting in a credit card, and those sorts of things. So there's some efficiencies there. But this amended agreement captures the use of affiliated members doing this, and it has them pay fees for the use of Ezpass equipment. So in the past, you had some of these sort of rogue folks out there doing things that weren't permitted, and they weren't paying fees, and there was no oversight by the Ezpass IEG. So this allows that to occur. The amended agreement also cleans up a few other things that are described in more detail in the executive summary, but the main gist is to bring them into the fold, make them pay fees, and have oversight of this alternative use of the Ezpass equipment.
Okay, so we joined Ezpass for Longmeadow Parkway, but this actually is not connected directly to Longmeadow. It's so that we might have options in the future, correct?
Yeah, unlikely, that this would affect us or be used around here, but it could potentially happen. But we're part of that larger agency. Those fees then go into the pot for agency members to use and so that it allows us, to pay for a few things and helps lower our incrementally lower our annual assessment that we pay to be a member of Ezpass.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Kais?
Do we have a motion or?
We have a motion and a second, I believe.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's moving right along. So I'm assuming that if we add additional services to this, it will still be taking about at least 30% out of that for the service?
Right. The cost to operate the toll bridge is primarily unaffected by this amended agreement. Longmeadow Parkway toll bridge.
Yeah.
And if we did use it for some other use in the future, that percentage would be determined by that usage.
Something not usury type level.
Mr. Berman, did you have a question?
No.
Madam Chair?
Thank you. For convenience for our commuters, as we start commuting a little bit more, can this possibly be used for metro parking?
So this, we don't anticipate that King County would be using this alternative purpose. It would be other vendors, other firms that it's their business plan then to operate a parking garage and utilize Ezpass equipment, potentially then to get their fees for parking. So it's not something that Kane County or KDOT or the County of Kane would be using. It's other folks. Another example is at a gas station. So during COVID, there was out on the East Coast, there's some agency that comes into a gas station and said they're running a pilot program where they set up Ezpass detectors above the gas station. And this happened actually right sort of during the beginning of COVID. So you would have touch-free, you wouldn't have to put in your credit card. And so you drive into the parking lot, you've already signed up for the program. The equipment detects your vehicle pulling in, you pay for the gas, it knows what pump you're at, and it charges your account. And so these are folks that, this isn't something that King County would use. This is what other people would use. So I would not anticipate, so would a metro parking garage Metra would have to get into an agreement, or Metra would have to operate that type to be considered an affiliated member and one to join Ezpass. So.
Thank you. I think it would just be highly convenient for all, instead of having to look for your $1.50 or whatever the charge is, just to be able to pull in and be able to do it. So maybe that'll be something we can look forward to in the future.
Okay, other questions or comments? I have a motion and a second, so roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
No,
Gopi,
Copy, yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes,
Martin,
Yes.
Franz,
Raz, yes.
passes.
Motion passes, resolution passes. Item 9D, resolution approving Phase 3 construction engineering services with Civil Tech. This is for the Orchard Road at Route 30 improvements project. Need a motion and a second. Mr.
Caius
Caius moves, Mr. Berman seconds. Steve?
Yeah, we're excited about this project. It's sort of been a few extra hurdles that our staff has had to jump over to bring this job to letting, but we're along with Mr. Yeager with our right-of-way acquisition, but we're proud to say we are targeting IDOT's January 2022 letting for this intersection reconstruction project. This project primarily purpose is to add dual southbound lefts on Orchard Road at the US 30 intersection. It'll also add a southbound right and mimic the same on the south leg in Kendall County. In the PM peak hour, there's quite a backup queuing traffic, southbound traffic at the intersection, primarily due to a single left turn lane. So this will help alleviate that concern. So we went through QBS and selected a negotiated construction engineering agreement with Civil Tech for just under $280,000 to assist our staff with the construction engineering oversight for this project next year.
And it also improves the crosswalks, which I've gotten several calls over the years. The development down there trends to be residential to the north on the King County side and retail on the south on the Kendall County side. So a lot of people do cross that busy intersection on foot. So this will help improve that also. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Gopi,
Copy, yes.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Martin,
Martin, yes.
Franz,
Raz, yes.
Passes.
Resolution passes.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Shepro?
I would ask unanimous consent to place the reports on file.
Okay, do we have unanimous consent from the
Yes.
committee?
Yes.
Unanimous consent is granted. The reports will be placed on file. Item 11, we do have need for executive session to discuss land acquisition. One item.
Caius moved to go into.
Caius moves to go into executive session.
A second.
Wojnicki seconds. Can I do all in favor?
Roll call
Roll call to go into executive session.
to go.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Iqbal, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Gopi,
Yeah. I would think so.
Wojnicki,
Yes.
Martin.
Copy, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move-
Franz, yeah.
Franz, yes, we'll move into executive session, please.
Hello, everybody online. This is Kelly. We are going to be going into executive session. Please accept your invitation from me.
Exit gates too fast, and it wasn't reading my transponder. And finally, what I figured out was I mounted the thing, between the visors, you've got that speckled stuff on your windshield. I had mounted it. That was
The reason it wasn't reading.
the total reason. I just moved it down, and I haven't had the problem since. But the woman had told me how fast do you drive? And I said, well, no faster than the people in front of me that
And Shepro.
Okay, we're in We have somebody signed up to speak. Actually, item 12, let's do new business. Does the committee have any new business? I do not have anything. Seeing none, we'll go to item 13, public comment.
Roll call actually to reestablish.
That we're back in open session.
Sorry.
Berman,
Berman, here.
Iqbal, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Guys, yes. Here.
Copy, yes. Here,
Woj-
yes.
Wojnicki,
Present.
Martin,
Present.
Shepro,
Jepro present.
Braz.
Raz, yes, here. So we're back in open session. We have no new business. Item 13, public comment. We do have somebody signed up to speak. I believe it's a David. Are you online?
Copy, new business possibly?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, let's, okay, David, if you could stand by, Kopi, new business, go ahead.
I'll make it brief. I've reached out to the a couple representatives out in my area in regards to establishing a program of capital projects that they could submit to the state in regards to road improvements. And I was wondering if we could direct staff to establish some pertinent projects to alleviate the potential traffic congestion in our area that our legislators can take to the state for consideration. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Tom, I'll ask you to talk directly to Tom Rickert to talk about those specific projects so that he can act appropriately on your request.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, new business is over. Public comment. David, we'll be back. We are back to you. If you want to go ahead.
Hi, so I guess I don't really know where we're planning to start here. We're a little confused on the reasoning behind the easement that they're requesting for our property.
Okay, could you state please start by stating your name and address. I believe this has to do with the zoning request we have coming up at the next meeting regarding the airstrip approval.
Yeah, so this is Dave Giordano. I live at 40W778 Norris Road, Sugar Grove. And so the reason why we're here is we're trying to figure out, it looks like on the agenda previously it was KDOT requesting this easement. And now it seems to be switched over to BlackBerry, unless I'm wrong. That's requesting the easement, and we still don't really have an explanation as to why that's a requirement, as it doesn't really pertain to the airstrip itself.
Yeah, well, anytime a property changes zoning, KDOT and the appropriate road agencies request that, because in the future, when a road is to be widened, then it's all taken care of and approved, and we don't have to go back to the homeowners and renegotiate. But I'll let Tom comment on that.
We're still waiting for the statute, though, that basically, grants the authority for that, though, because otherwise it's like, it's kind of unrelated. We're not necessarily changing our zoning either. We're just adding a special use on top of it. So I guess that's the confusion.
Yeah, primarily during the course of a special use, the county has the prerogative to have certain types of conditions attached to the special use. It is in the county code that we evaluate certain aspects in regards to the need for right-of-way. A lot of times that deals with drainage needs. It deals with safety aspects for the access location, ensuring site distance locations. With a special use, it's almost always attached with a special use as a condition at the recommendation of staff, and then the county board can establish whether they want to continue forward with that condition.
Sure.
This is all of it is in accordance with the zoning code, as well as the county also established minimum right-of-ways for certain roadways. The 33 feet for the township, the county would never ask for right-of-way for the county in that aspect. What they do is they look at situations where They want to make sure that they can continue to maintain the existing 33-foot of prescriptive right-of-way out at that location. So this is already a prescriptive right-of-way at this location. What it does is it affords the ability to work within that existing prescriptive right-of-way for the township, whether it is to maintain vegetation or ditches on the side of the road and such. So this is a very minimal right-of-way. It is an easement that's being asked for so that it doesn't hamper any type of current minimum acreage needs, but this is a prescriptive right-of-way that currently exists out there. In fact, the county and the state of Illinois with prescriptive right-of-way, they would never acquire this right-of-way in an aspect where they pay for it. Whenever we acquire right-of-way, the prescriptive right-of-way is already assured as right-of-way. And that's all that's being asked at this time as part of the stipulation or condition that the county board may move forward with. That's all that's being asked for is a 33-foot of existing prescriptive right-of-way.
In time, that's 33 foot from center line.
It's 33 foot from center line.
So there's probably already 26 or whatever it happens to be. So this is
Yeah,
just a standard road right-of-way is 66 feet, even in a residential subdivision. So this just brings the easement. It's not taking your property, but it's putting an easement on it for if the road is ever widened in the future, that they would be able to bring it up to standards with a full 66-foot right-of-way. This is done on virtually every zoning petition we have, and it's a stipulation on virtually every one of them.
Yeah, with the straight rezoning, we typically would not do that, but with the special use condition here, and this just helps again to ensure that we can adequately maintain, or the township can adequately maintain the prescriptive right-of-way.
Yeah.
Right. So when we requested the language for the easement, it included ComEd, it included NICOR, optical, like basically any kind of future improvements. The other question I have is if you're saying that 26 already exists.
That was just a guess.
Oh, that's a guess. Okay.
We're trying to get it up to the 33-foot standard. I don't really know what it is, but I'm guessing it's not like we're asking for 33 more feet. It's already from the center line to your fence or lot line, whatever that may be.
Right. I guess the reason why this is an issue for us is because we lived on Route 31 and we've done the busy street thing. And so the last thing we really want is for another road to be widened out and made into a more main road, because obviously we chose this property because it's not. And so that's pretty much the main reason. The other thing that I think is kind of interesting or weird is that normally when there is an easement, there's an exchange of money and it's done through an eminent domain process if the county really needs it. Because I was told basically at some point here that you guys would get it if you wanted it anyways. And I can completely agree to that. The only difference is though that would be a cost to somebody for the use of the property that you don't effectively own at this point. You know what I mean? So I guess my main concern is that maybe it's a normal taking for the county and all I'm doing is here to request that they don't.
Okay, well, and then, you mentioned Route 31. Well, the state highway right away is much bigger than what we're talking about. And you are on a curve there. So the curve would be the most likely place they'd want to widen it, if anywhere. And you do have substantial growth to the east there along Tanner Road. So there is that's the road that people cut through to over to Bliss. So, I imagine the committee would want to stick to its guns, but keep in mind also that area that we're talking about, this is just an easement. It's not a taking of your ownership. And also with building setbacks and so forth, you can't do anything in this parcel other than plant trees or put a fence up.
Yeah, I guess the part that we're missing here is that we don't want our road widened out. So
Yeah, there's no plans to widen Norris Road at this location. This roadway is at least at this point in time in the foreseeable future is planned to remain a 2-lane road. There may be issues in regards to major access points in the future, but at this point in time, the main concern is the ability to maintain the minimum 33 foot of right-of-way in regards to drainage and vegetation and just being able to adequately maintain it.
So essentially, 10 years from now, if Norris Road needs to be widened up to even the minimum 33-foot half-road standard, this would be already in place, and KDOT wouldn't have to, piecemeal negotiate with 20 different neighbors. So it's essentially a housekeeping issue. You're asking for something to be changed, and as part of that, the county likes to do these housekeeping matters for right-of-way.
Right. So I can understand that. And as you can understand, we spent almost $800,000 to live here. And so like when someone wants use of your property, wants to take a portion of it, even if it's only, hopefully we can verify that it is only 7 feet that you're asking for, then there should be an exchange of money for that right. I mean, it's not just, you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't really necessarily make sense to me that it seems like a roundabout way of getting use or taking of someone's property without any kind of exchange of monetary.
Okay, keep in mind, we're not taking property, we're asking for an easement. Mr. Martin has a comment.
I think it's relevant here that the word prescriptive easement has been used. This already exists. There's a road already in place, and all we're doing is formalizing that which already exists. And you see this all over, and in areas where roads have been built historically, where the roads are there, and by it being a prescriptive easement, you can't use the property anyway. So we're not really taking anything. We're just simply formalizing to create a more predictable future. That road is already the public's entitlement. That right of way is already the public's entitlement by the fact that it historically has used it. So there's no real additional consideration.
If we could confirm that we're only talking about 7 feet, it would probably make me feel a lot better. But if we're just, I think we need to confirm that. You know what I mean?
Well, 66 feet is a street in town. So if you look at your road, and compare it to what a normal city street would be, I think that road is the normal right of way for a municipal street is 66 feet. That road has got to be within that range, that road and that ditch.
Yeah, and when you say 66-foot road, it's not really the road.
It's not a road. It's a right of way, but you've got pavement and road. It's compare your ditch and half of the pavement to what you'd see if you drove in the middle of North Aurora and looked at a community street.
So I would recommend, if you look at your Plata survey, you should be able to scale measure from the center line of the road to your lot pin. And it's probably going to be 20 something. And the difference between that and 33 is what the easement would be. Mr. Shepro, comment?
Yeah, I just would indicate Shepro speaking. The
microphone, please.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure I agree with some of the comments that have been made. As I understand it, a prescriptive easement creates a right in the existing roadway. It doesn't add additional right of way. And for example, my house is on a road that is a prescriptive easement. I own to the center of that road. If somebody wants to come along and put in a utility line or a pipeline or anything like that, they've got to ask my permission and they got to pay me for it if they want it, or they've got to exercise eminent domain. As I understand it, prescriptive means that you only get the use to which it is already devoted. And I guess my question would be, for anybody here who could answer it, is that the difference is that if you want to widen the road in the future to say 33 feet, and I presume the easement would be really a grant of authority to do that, that at that point, even if there are no current plans, if there are plans to do that in the future, the government agency would not have to compensate the owner to do that. Whereas if it remains a prescriptive easement, my understanding is that they would then have to acquire by negotiation or eminent domain those additional rights.
Yeah, a 33-foot half lane easement would only allow for the minimal type of road, which is already there. So anyways, under public comment, we usually don't have this
Yeah.
much give and take. So I guess I would recommend that you look at your Plata survey, see if you can confirm the difference between current center lane to corner pin. And the difference would be what we'd be looking for there. But I know you're one of the first on the agenda under development. So at that time, you can choose to table it, ask us to table it again. But thank you for your comments. Okay, public comment is over. Motion for adjournment.
Don't move.
Mr. Berman moves.
Caius, second.
Caius seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.